Kind of dismal looking, isn't it? Wow, like I was really tired at midnight, so I went to bed like before midnight, and then I just didn't sleep very well. I woke at 3 and the cat came in telling me he wanted something to eat. So I thought, well, alright, I have one biscuit left over from some homemade biscuits I made. So I thought, he'll eat and I'll eat. So I brought out the biscuit and I cut it in half, put a little bit of butter on both sides, put a drizzle of honey on each side, and as I was going to the microwave to put it in to heat it up, I saw one of these on it. It looked like that. It was really, really tiny. That's a cricket. See the little tail parts? Cockroaches don't have those tail parts. I didn't want to try to find out what exactly he was, so he met his death with the garbage disposal. I don't like killing things, but I wanted to talk to you this time about friends. Growing up a daughter of a narcissistic mother and one that was alcoholic, I never really had any friends, and I didn't know why. Was it me? I always felt it was me. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. My mother never allowed me to do this and never allowed me to do that, so I never had friends. Either that or other people saw my mother for, maybe they saw her as kind of a jerk or an alcoholic or something and thought, well, you're not hanging out over there. I really don't know. But in grade school, I guess I was like second grade. You're like 8 or 9 years old. 8 years old. There was Rita Fuller. She was a nice, quiet girl. She had glasses. And in those days, if you had glasses, you were an outcast. I know. Kids pick on people for the dumbest things. Not so much anymore. I mean, kids weren't fat in those days either. So I hung out with Rita a little bit. We went to the same church. And as soon as she, I guess, felt more confident, maybe her parents, who knows why, all of a sudden she dropped me like a hot rock. Same thing happened to Susie Martin. We went to church together. I started hanging out with her, and all of a sudden I was not hanging out with her anymore. And also Ingrid Rich. Ingrid Rich's parents were from Norway. And her mother was gorgeous. And her dad looked like a big old walrus with a mustache. And he wore the little red hat and a smoking pipe, like a lot of old Norwegian men. And I hung out with her for a little bit, and because she was new to the area, and then all of a sudden I was dropped like a hot rock. So I really don't know why. If it's me, I wish someone would have said something so I could change to be whatever I'm supposed to be, but maybe it wasn't me. I don't know. So we moved here in Missouri in 1971. I was starting high school. I was 16. At that time, high school was 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. Now it's changed, so high school starts in 9th grade. Be that as it may, I didn't really know anyone at all. I hung out kind of with the girl across the street who was a little younger than me, but she saw me for what she could take advantage of, you know. And basically, at high school, we had, in one class, I always sat up front. I was always Miss Goody Two-Shoes. I mean, wasn't Goody Two-Shoes. I did my work, and I always did what I was supposed to do, right? Because that's what you're supposed to do. But I thought, well, maybe I'll make friends if I sit in the back, like all the troublemakers. They sit in the back, or at least I can observe people from the back. So I sat in the last seat, and this girl named Valerie was in the first seat of the row, and we had like a quiz, and the teacher said, pass your paper back to the guy behind you, and the last guy had to bring it up to the first desk so that we could grade each other's papers in class. So I took it up there, and she's sitting there with her hands all folded and everything, and she was always like really extra too goody two-shoes, you know, and I lost it, and I bawled her out, and I said, you just think you're so great, don't you? You're just little Miss Goody Two-Shoes, blah, blah, blah. You know, and then we graded the paper, and later in the day when I'm walking home from school, she catches up to me because she walked the same way that I did. And she bawled me out for telling her that how I felt. We started talking. We came to a mutual agreement that since we both walked the same way home, that we'd walk together because it was safer. There really wasn't anything to worry about in those days. So we walked home from school. She lived a half a block further than me. So I hung out with Valerie. I ended up doing a lot more nice things, and I was used. But that's what you get when you're brought up a kid of a narcissist. You're used. Be that as it may. At school, we didn't have a theater at the time. We didn't have a swimming pool there at the time. They do now, but they have a nice theater. We had a gymnasium that had like a little stage built into the wall. And we had just finished a play. We're putting things away. And I'm sweeping the stage. Valerie came because she wanted to walk home. So she was waiting for me. And I'm sweeping the stage, and out crawls a cockroach. I screamed bloody murder, and I ran down the hall. Hazelwood Central High School is known as a high school that has the longest hall. It's a half a mile long. Is it half a mile? Quarter mile? Anyway, it's really long. And I ran almost all the way to the other end, and I could hear her laughing all the way. She wasn't afraid of bugs, but I was, and I still am. But we'd walk home, and then during the warm months, we had our shoes off when we were walking across the grass, and she stepped on a bee. And she thought she was going to die, and she's leaning on me the whole way. And I wasn't fat at the time, but we were both 6 foot tall. We were both good-sized people. And she'd lean on me the whole way. I'm like, oh my God. But I hung out with Valerie once in a while. She had a sister 2 years older, Charlotte. And her mom and dad were both in the Air Force. The Armed Air Force, they were both sergeants. The mother of the women and the father of the men. So it was a pretty regimental type family. And they had lived all over the place, Germany and stuff. And Valerie and I also had the fact in common that we spoke German. And her sister. And we would hang out and we would tell each other these long stories. I don't know what you call it, buddy story, where one guy starts telling the story and stops, and the next guy starts go from there and goes on, and then the next guy, and we'd sit and draw pictures too, and we'd come up with these wacky stories, and we'd be laughing and everything. And I was up there for New Year's one time, and her mom and dad were drinking beer, and we were just drinking like 7-Up. You know, pretending it was champagne, but it's just 7-Up. My mom thought I should be home, so she called, and Mr. Brown answered the phone. And Mom thought we had a bunch of guys up there partying. We were playing gin rummy. So she didn't trust me, so she came up. She drove the car up a half a block. Found out we were just playing gin rummy, so she stayed and drank beer, and we played gin rummy. It's like I was never allowed to do anything, hardly ever. Mr. Brown was funny. He was from Texas, and he had all those old sayings like hopping around like a toad on a hot plate, or hotter than the hinges of Hades, or colder than a tin toilet seat in Siberia. And the mother, she was a character as well. She'd say, well, to make a long story longer. But, Valerie married some guy, and she's living in Texas now. She had a daughter late in life. Laurel would be 21 now. And her birthday is Valerie's birthday's in March, and I used to send her birthday greetings and never heard back. I was dropped like a hot rock right away. That's okay. I'm used to being alone. So, instead of doing something, I'm coming up with these long-winded remembering stories. I do need to get some stuff done around here. I just did not feel good today at all. My back was hurting. My legs were hurting. And breathing, my chest was hurting. I have a clinic appointment on Friday, so maybe if there's something wrong, they can find out. I don't know. Maybe tomorrow, since it's supposed to still be cool tomorrow, that I can actually get some stuff done around here. That's the plan, Stan, so... How long have I been dribbling on here? Oh my God, 10 minutes? Shoot. Catch you later. Upward and onward.